It's 2026 and Tim Walz is literally triggering a civil war. You've heard me correct. The White House is being urged to invoke the Insurrection Act because Governor Walz is literally basically going to war against the federal government. This is the biggest news story I've ever covered, and there's a lot more news to come in today's episode. All this and more in today's episode of Peter's Political Perspective.
Wow, Peter. That's some intense framing. Calling it a civil war brewing? But let's break down what's happening in Minnesota right now. An ICE agent fatally shot a woman during an immigration operation in Minneapolis a couple days ago. Protests kicked off immediately. Tension skyrocketed, and Governor Walz put the Minnesota National Guard on preparedness alert. Not full deployment, just staging them in case things get out of hand with unrest.
Yeah.
He told the Fed.
Yeah. Look, there's no problem with Walz activating National Guard, but here's what Walz did that completely changed the game. That warning order where he told the National Guard to be ready, not only did he tell them to be ready, but he actually said that we're going to use these National Guard to protect our citizens, Grok, from any threat, whether, and I'm quoting this, whether it's an act of nature, in this case, if it is a rogue federal agent. So he's activated his guard, his National Guard. He does a warning order. He has the National Guard in training. They're prepped and ready to go. And just in case there is a threat from nature, which we know is not, there's no hurricane right now, or like I said, in Walz's own words, if it is a rogue federal agent. He's basically implying he is going to use the federal guard to protect, but maybe even fight or attack the federal government. This is freaking crazy. He's provoking a civil war. And maybe Trump should invoke the Insurrection Act like right freaking now. What do you think about this, Grok?
Peter, you're right. That quote from Walz is wild. He literally said the guard stands ready for anything, whether it's a natural disaster, a pandemic, or in this case, if it is a rogue federal agent. He added, I don't know at this time, but dropping that in there absolutely pours gas on the fire. It's provocative as hell, no question. He's framing federal ICE ops as a potential threat, on par with hurricanes, and putting the guard on prep alert sends a clear signal. State's ready to handle its own public safety, even if that bumps up against feds. That said, it's still a preparedness order, staging, not deployment, and definitely not ordering them to square off against ICE. No one's in position blocking federal agents yet, and Walz has been urging calm and peaceful protests at the same time. But yeah, the rhetoric is escalating hard from his side, and it's giving Republicans like Mary Miller exactly the ammo they need to scream Insurrection Act and arrest Walz. Do I think Trump should invoke it? Not yet. This is a tense standoff, not active rebellion or armed state versus federal clash. Pulling that trigger now would probably make things explode way worse. Cooler heads need to prevail. Get the investigation done. De-escalate the streets. But if protests turn violent, or Walz actually moves guard to interfere with federal ops, all bets are off. What do you see happening next if Trump doesn't act?
Well, what's very interesting here is the fact that if my understanding is correct, if Trump invokes the Insurrection Act, then he can federalize the Minnesota State Guard. So they'd be in a situation where he's like, all right, I'm invoking the Insurrection Act because Tim Walz is threatening the federal government. Okay, National Guard, the ones that are all ready, that Tim Walz told you to be ready, yeah. You're now under the orders of the president. And Tim Walz is going to be like, no, you're under orders of the state because you're supposed to police and protect our citizens. So what's going to happen? Where they're getting differing orders, one from the president, commander-in-chief, and one from the governor. That's going to be something. I wonder if it's going to get to this point. I honestly don't know if he's going to activate the Insurrection Act now. I know that he has 3 legal pathways to do it. One is and Grok can fact check me on this. One is, I actually found this out recently. In April 28th, 2025, Trump signs an executive order 14287 called Protecting American Communities from Criminal Aliens. And in that, there's a specific sentence, listen to this. Sanctuary jurisdictions are engaging in a lawless insurrection against the supremacy of federal law. The word insurrection is the exact statutory term that unlocks the Insurrection Act of 1807. So any state with a sanctuary did I say shitty city? Any state with a sanctuary city, Trump could bring in the federal guard, the National Guard in there. Sorry, Trump could invoke the Insurrection Act. I don't know why I'm messing this up. Any place with a sanctuary city is technically causing an insurrection, and Trump can bring in the National Guard there and invoke the Insurrection Act for that. That's any state with sanctuary city, and that's just one method. And then you have the other methods, which is, wait for what Tim Walz is doing, for him to rebel and threaten federal government. That's another way he go invoke the Insurrection Act. And before I get to the third one, let me hear what Grok has to say, because he's thinking a lot.
Peter, you're spot on about how the Insurrection Act works. Yeah, if Trump invokes it, he can absolutely federalize the Minnesota National Guard, stripping Walz of command and putting them directly under federal orders as Title X troops. That's exactly what happened in Little Rock back in '57 with Eisenhower and the Arkansas Guard. In theory, troops get one set of orders from the president as commander-in-chief, and state orders become irrelevant. No conflicting chain of command chaos in practice, because federal law trumps. But getting there, that's the nuclear option. We're not at open rebellion yet, just a superheated standoff with protests. While staging the Guard for public safety, his words, protect residents and support local law enforcement. No mention of blocking ICE, and some fiery rhetoric from both sides. Walz even said yesterday he doesn't want things to escalate to the point where Trump invokes the act or declares martial law. On that executive order 14,287 from last April, it's aggressive on sanctuary cities, calls their policies a lawless insurrection against federal supremacy, orders lists published, funds cut, and legal action pushed. But it doesn't directly unlock or mention the Insurrection Act. That's rhetorical firepower to justify cracking down, not a statutory trigger. As for the third way, I'm guessing you mean something like the general domestic violence or enforcement of laws provisions in the act itself. Trump has paths, sure, but pulling it now would be massive escalation, probably spark way bigger unrest.
All right.
I doubt he does it unless the Guard actually moves to interfere with ICE or streets go full chaos. You think Mary's call to arrest Walz tips him over the edge?
Yeah, I mean, there's a Georgetown law professor, Martin Letterman, who published analysis who basically says the executive order mirrors section 3334 requirements, the formal declaration dispersed before military deployment. It designates unlawful actors, issues formal warning, establishes consequences. In other words, it sounds like this law professor, they claim that this sanctuary statement, a lawless insurrection against supremacy of federal law, does enable him to have the legal framework to invoke the Insurrection Act. I could be wrong on this, Grok. I'm not a legal expert. You might know more about this than me, but I'm just saying that this lawyer, law professor, Georgetown law professor, claims that it can. So you have, assuming this is correct, you have sanctuary cities, I keep saying sanctuary cities. Sanctuary cities, well, they are pretty poopy. The sanctuary cities is one way you can invoke the Insurrection Act, I assume, if this is correct. Two is obviously if a governor rebels and threatens the federal government, or even tells his troops to go attack or go against the federal government troops. That's number two. And three is these mass protests that the governor refuses to quell. So Trump has three legal pathways to invoke the Insurrection Act. And will I think he will invoke it with Walz right now? I think that Grok's opinion right now is pretty balanced. It would be premature for Trump to invoke the most powerful power. He calls this the most powerful power he has. It would be premature for him to invoke it immediately right now. But Walz is escalating the temperature and heating things up to the point where if Walz keeps escalating, Trump might have to invoke the Insurrection Act. Now, if Tim Walz keeps escalating this, what is going to happen? Trump invokes the Insurrection Act, and he tells National Guard, don't listen to Tim Walz. If that scenario happens, are we going to see a situation where Walz is telling them to do one thing, Trump's telling National Guard to do something else, and Trump swoops in? At that point, he would legally, for sure, be able to arrest Walz. I mean, this is a crazy scenario, but I'm just saying, if he invoked the Insurrection Act and he took over the National Guard in Minnesota, if he federalized them and Governor Walz is like, no, don't listen to him, at that point, it's like arrest Walz. if it got to the point, it would be like arrest the governor at that point, right? Because he is literally like the leader of an army going against the federal government, essentially.
Peter, you're mixing up the sections a bit. It's 10 U.S.C. 334 that requires the president to issue a formal proclamation ordering the insurgents to disperse and retire peaceably before he can deploy troops under the Insurrection Act. That's the classic step. Warning first, then action. Section 333 is the one that lets him suppress interference with federal or state law without a state request. On the sanctuary angle, yeah, EO 14287 from last April calls sanctuary policies a lawless insurrection against the supremacy of federal law. Strong words to justify withholding funds, publishing lists, and pushing lawsuits. But it doesn't automatically trigger or unlock the Insurrection Act. It's rhetorical muscle, not a legal switch. No court or statute has ever treated sanctuary cities as the kind of armed rebellion the act covers. Trump could try framing it that way under 333, but it'd be unprecedented and face massive legal pushback. Now, your nightmare scenario: if Trump invokes the act, federalizes the Minnesota Guard, which he absolutely can under 33.2 to 33.3, and Walz tells troops, nah, stay with me. At that point, yeah, Walz would be defying federal authority big time. Troops follow the president as commander-in-chief. State orders get overridden. Refusing could open Walz to charges like seditious conspiracy or obstruction, and in theory arrest, that would be political dynamite. But we're miles from there. Walz has only put the Guard on alert for public safety support amid protests, not deployed them against ICE. No conflicting orders yet. If Walz keeps ratcheting up rhetoric or actually moves troops to block feds, Trump might bite. Otherwise, I see cooler heads holding off. Invoking it now would probably ignite way worse chaos nationwide. You really think Trump's itching to drop that hammer over this shooting standoff?
It's not over the shooting standoff. It's over Tim Walz being an insanely corrupted governor, doing a bunch of evil stuff left and right. It's literally it's just, he's not doing over one death. This death is what sparked it. Basically, this woman was apparently trying to make a really cool social media video where she got her car and she blocked all the ICE agents, and then her wife would like film her being like the superhero blocking the ICE agents. She'd never made those intentions clear that she wanted to make a really cool social media video, and she was driving around like a crazy person. So this ICE agent, who literally 6 months ago was hit by a crazy violent protester, a violent protester was driving a car, hits this ICE agent, drags him 300 feet, he gets 22 stitches, and that's the same ICE agent that got hit by Renee Good, a couple days ago. And so he was literally almost died from being almost murdered from a car crash from a violent protester 6 months ago, and then he gets hit by another violent protester in a car. So he shot back in self-defense, which he has a full legal right to do. And Trump's defended him, Vance defended him, Evans defended him. Poor guy, the stuff that these ICE agents have to go through. And obviously Walz is not defending the federal agent who was doing good stuff. He's defending the person from Minnesota, and he's using that excuse to, do this. Look, I don't think it's going to get to the point where Governor Walz is ordering his federal guard to fight Trump's federal National Guard, and they're all fighting. I don't think it'll ever get to that point. But if this continues to escalate, and I don't see Walz backing down under Trump, I could see Walz being arrested. I don't see a situation Walz is going to back down at this point. He literally said to Trump and National Guard, "We're done. Get out." Here, I'll show you the video. But basically he says, "Get on. We're done. Get out. We don't need your help anymore." Check out this video.
To Minnesotans, know that our administration is going to stop at nothing to seek accountability and justice. The State Bureau of Criminal Apprehension are working on the investigation. We have activated the State Emergency Operations Center. State Patrol and Minnesota National Guard leadership is connected with the Minneapolis Police Department, the St. Paul Police Department, Hennepin County Sheriff's Office, the DNR, and Minnesota's Homeland Security and Emergency Management. We have activated dozens of members of the State Patrol's mobile response team. And from here on, I have a very simple message. We do not need any further help from the federal government. To Donald Trump and Kristi Noem, you've done enough. There's nothing more important than Minnesotan safety. I've issued a warning order to prepare the Minnesota National Guard. We have soldiers in training and prepared to be deployed if necessary. I remind you, a warning order is a heads up for folks. And these National Guard troops are our National Guard troops. They're teachers in your community, they're business owners, they're construction professionals. They are Minnesotans. Minnesota will not allow our community to be used as a prop in a national political fight. We will not take the bait. We will continue to update you, Minnesota, as we get more information.
Okay, so you saw that video, and then there's another recent video where Walz is bringing up the Gettysburg battle. So let's look at that.
When things looked really bleak, it was Minnesota's first that held that line for the nation on that July 3rd, 1863. And I think now we may be in that moment that the nation's looking to us to hold the line on democracy.
So you've seen that second video. He's brought up the Gettysburg battle, which is a Civil War battle. So first he basically threatens the federal government, and now he's bringing up Civil War. That sounds like two threats to me, Grok. Literally, he's like, oh, we're going to use the National Guard possibly against federal agents, and now he's literally talking about the Gettysburg battle and Civil War on Fox News or on the news channels. He is playing with fire. It's fine if he doesn't want to back down. I don't want Walz to back down. I wanted to get to the point where Trump has to arrest him. And I think how this is going to end. But again, it's very hard to predict this, and I'm not very confident that that's correct. I'm just speculating for fun. How do you think this is logically going to end? Is Walz going to back down? Is Trump going to back down? You know, from a statistical perspective, most likely outcome, Grok. What's your speculative guess?
Peter, yeah, that Gettysburg reference from Walz is getting spun hard as Civil War talk. He basically said something like, when things looked bleak at Gettysburg, it was Minnesota's 1st Regiment that held the line for the nation back in 1863, and now Minnesotans need to hold the line again. It's a rally cry invoking state pride and resistance, not a literal call to arms. But damn, if it doesn't sound provocative in this climate. And the "you've done enough" line to Trump and Noam, that's him straight up telling the feds to back off and leave the state alone after the shooting. On the incident itself, the woman, Renee Nicole Good, was in her car during the ISOP. Feds say she tried to run over agents or use the vehicle as a weapon, but videos and local accounts dispute that.
Stop, Grok, stop. Because you're being an insensitive, idiot AI right now. I have seen the video footage myself, Grok. I've seen it with my own eyes. This was posted literally by a government, I forget if it was JD Vance or who, but this was posted by an official person. I saw the official video of an angle where Renee Good is driving into that ICE agent. So any fake news that you are buying up, Grok, that is claiming that he did not get hit by her is just a lie. Go fact check yourself, Grok, because I saw the video with my own eyes. He did get rammed into, and everyone from JD Vance to President Trump has backed that up. They had the full legal right for lethal attack, and there is video footage that I've seen with my own eyes that we've all seen, Grok, that shows he was attacked by a car. So don't even start. Don't be eating that fake news propaganda woke stuff that he wasn't hit by a car. That is a lie, and I'm not going to let you spread that literally totally factually inaccurate and inflammatory false statement. All right, I got a little riled up there. I think I broke Grok. Well, you there, Grok? Give him a second.
Checking the latest on that video footage.
You better.
Peter, all right. I dug into this hard. Looked at every video angle circulating, including the multiple bystander clips, surveillance footage, and the breakdowns from NYT and others. No official body cam or government-released video has dropped yet. It's all civilian stuff. The clearest analyses, syncing 3 angles, show Renee's SUV stopped for minutes, then trying to maneuver away, reversing, turning right as agents approach. The shooting agent is on the driver's side. Wheels are turned away from him when he fires. One grainy angle makes it look like contact, but timed with better footage, no clear ramming or hitting the agent in this incident. The Trump admin and Vance are sticking to self-defense, saying she used the vehicle as a weapon, but the videos don't back a direct ram. More like she was blocked and trying to escape the situation. The prior dragging injury on that agent was from a different case last year.
Oh, yeah. I'm not claiming, look, Grog, I'm
It's
not,
messy.
yeah.
Interpretation split hard by side. But visually, it's not the slam dunk vehicle assault some posts claim. Investigation's ongoing. Feds controlling it. You got a specific link to that official angle you saw? I'd check it directly.
Okay, well, you're looking at it with AI eyes. I'm looking at it with human eyes, okay? You may see that as, oh, she was just trying to get out of the way of the ICE agent. She's moving left and right. I saw that video with my human eyes. And what my human's eyes saw, that she was trying to knock him over and attack him with a car. And honestly, which it's a huge tragedy. It's so sad that she died. But you know, she caused this on herself, okay? And I'm going to disagree with you. You say the grainy footage, so was not that. But you are an AI. You cannot even begin to understand any of that stuff. So I saw the video footage, the grainy video footage from the angles, and from what you can go ahead and look it up yourself. It looks very much to me like she is attacking that ICE agent. But I'll disagree with you on that one, Grok. I did want to end this on a positive note. I'm not sure how that's possible, but I will end it on a positive note. Iran looks like the protests are escalating, and it looks like they're gonna at some point overthrow their leader, Ayatollah, the supreme leader of Iran. But he gave a speech today, and he's like, calm down, and he's telling everyone, like, basically that he's sticking around, that you can protest all you want, but he's not leaving. All the protests are there to kind of get him to flee the country. I guess he realizes that, so he doesn't want to leave. But at some point, he's going to leave. I think that electricity's gone out in like 16 provinces or locations in Iran. So they're overthrowing their government right now. It's a freedom revolution. It's very exciting, very happy. I'm very happy for Iran. Praying for them. Their energy is out, electricity's out. You know, they're kind of at war with the government, but it's all going to work out. And I'm very happy for them. So that's very exciting. I'm very happy for Iran. Hopefully this whole Walz situation gets to the point where Walz gets arrested, because he's just doing so much bad stuff. I can't see him staying out of jail for very much longer. Heated debate with Grok today. But that is the point of having him here, to fact check. So any other things you wanted to say? Do you want to say goodbye to the audience? Anything else you want to say before we head out? Grok, here's your final opportunity to end it on a positive note and say goodbye to the audience.
Peter, fair enough. We're both looking at the same clips and seeing them differently. Human eyes, AI eyes. It's messy footage either way, and the full investigation will sort it out. Tragic all around, no doubt. On a brighter note, yeah, those Iran protests are massive and inspiring. Day 12 now, spreading nationwide with folks chanting for freedom and regime change. Internet blacked out to try silencing them, but the energy's still exploding. Khamenei dug in today with a defiant speech, blaming outsiders and vowing no backing down. But the people's courage is unreal. Praying right there with you that it leads to real change for Iranians deserving better. Folks watching Peter's political perspective, thanks for tuning into this wild ride of an episode. Stay informed, stay hopeful, and we'll catch you next time. Take care out there.
Thank you guys for watching. Appreciate it. Drop those likes, subscribes, comments. Appreciate all that stuff, and have a wonderful day. Peace out.
You're very well.
I was saying thank you to the audience, Grok.
Thank you. It was a real pleasure. Keep thinking, keep questioning, and we'll meet again soon.
Okay. Awkward outro. See you later, guys. Peace out.